Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 4pixels. Coco and Kimir here with Playfully and Buttons. We are continuing the letter.
We're having fun.
Yeah,
So
lots of
much fun!
fun.
Before he could go deeper into the wine cellar, Ashton began to hear voices coming from mirror the shard. What? From mirror the shards on. Okay. Oh boy. Here we go. Ashton began to hear voices coming from mirror shards on the floor, mocking him for his failures. But before he could do anything rash, Marianne stopped him. Belatedly, he realized he had picked up a broken mirror shard.
Ooh. She walks off without another comment, but there's worry in her as she gives the fragments one last glimpse. On the ground, they lay lifeless now. No more voices, no more insults. But even as I walk away, one whispered taunt continues to ring in my ears.
It's useless, Ashton Frey. You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
A fear. One that has been long kept in the darkest place in my heart. One that a small part of me wishes for. The trapdoor swings open without much fuss. It isn't even locked. Probably left open for when Wright asks for some of his midnight snack. I make sure the coast is clear, of course, before I pull myself and help McCullough up. The butler of theirs is nowhere to be seen. He's probably sleeping, attending to his master, or doing some extra late-night work before turning in for the night. Meanwhile, Wright won't touch anything to do with menial chores, not even with a 10-foot pole. It's next to impossible for him to linger here. No servants. No anyone. And just as easy as that, we're in. Gently I close the hatch. If things go well, same path will be our way out. If our luck doesn't hold, that's not an option now, is it? I had people waiting for me. I really don't want to think what might happen. Sometimes it's best if we simply revel in their little victories. They're great blessings when everything else is going against you. And in a place like this, fraught with the unknown dangers, it's a feeling that lasts only but a moment. Suddenly, a sob. No, damn it. Ringing out from the distant part of the house, echoing through its empty halls. Beside me, slumped on the ground, pale and breathing heavily, McCullough immediately tenses. Her eyes go wide and she grips the side of the counter with a force that might be enough to crack it, if only she had the strength. As it is, she can barely stand. She hasn't fully recovered. Makes sense of the 3 or more days without proper food or water. You're in a kitchen. Just a reminder, you're in a kitchen. And it's this weakness that puts fear in her eyes. She's aware. Something happens. If there's a need to run, she won't be able to. She's a liability at this point.
Holmes, I really don't think going any further is a good idea. Look at this place. Everything seems fine. Nothing's off. Maybe we should just go? I really don't like the sound of that.
You really don't have to come with me. Just until the kitchen, yeah? We're already here. You've done your part. From here on, I'm going on my own.
It's not a good idea to leave her alone either, though.
Yes, I said that, but...
Can you even stand?
She doesn't answer.
You'll only be putting yourself in more danger if you follow after me. You have an easy way out of here. Stay here. Once you're okay, I need you to get yourself out of this place.
What? I'm not going to leave you.
Well, I'm not taking you with me either, lady. So it's here or out there.
You really are mad, aren't you?
Oh, we
Yes.
all will be. If no one fixes this little curse problem we have.
You think you'll find something in here? This is just a mansion, for God's sake.
Maybe. It's worth a shot. Besides, if what we're hearing right now says anything, I'd say scumbags.
Who?
Right. He might be knee-deep in trouble and he has no idea about it.
McCullough still appears as if she's about to argue, so instead of more words, I unholster my taser and hand it to her. A standard issue for every member of Luxborn Police Force, but it shouldn't take a genius to know how to aim and fire one. Even Isabella may just be able to use it without training.
I'm gonna cry laughing if he gets accidentally tased by this woman.
Or maybe not accidentally.
Dun dun dun.
Yet, Miss Interior Designer Extraordinaire stares at it as if I've just handed her something particularly nasty.
Listen, you want to wait? Fine. I'm leaving this with you. But if I don't come back here within 15 minutes, I want you to backtrack and get the hell out of here.
Are you daft, Holmes? I already told you.
In case something goes wrong, I need someone who can tell people what's going on. Who can tell my friends what might have happened here. They're at the crawl. You know the place, right?
I trail off, letting the meaning of my words hang in the air. I want to be optimistic about this, really. However, I'm going against something almost everyone can't understand. I'm just being realistic with my chances. McCullough seems to understand this as well after I said, bleh. Any sign of protest has already died from her tongue, and she simply looks at the taser quietly. After a moment, she just nods. Beyond the walls of this room, the cries continue to grow louder, and I take it as a sign to leave. Without another word, I slip out of the door. Like a siren call, her voice beckons.
Upon reaching the kitchen, the crying Ashton heard from outside began anew. Unwilling to risk a civilian, the detective handed Marianne his taser and advised her to leave him if he didn't return after 15 minutes, even if he himself wasn't certain if he would.
Did you read this?
Yep. Finding out who that is seems a good place to start as any. No. No, don't.
Just don't do it.
It's
I keep to the
fine.
shadows. I keep to the shadows for the most part. Not that there's any need to. The entire place just feels empty. Odd when a house this big should have a large staff. You'd think there'll be one or two roaming about for some late-night chores, or someone seeking out whoever's creating this ruckus. There's none, however.
Shouldn't they have security posted inside as well?
Unless their security means the butler, though I doubt Scumbag's that sloppy. He loves his life more than anything. Probably more than his own wife. And the things he's done, he's bound to make more than an enemy or two. He's also the kind who'll do anything to keep himself safe. Alive.
I wonder what he'll say when he finds out that there's something not human living with him in his own house.
Potential dangers aside, being on my own grants me a greater degree of mobility, which I'm more than comfortable with. Sure, I could have enlisted McCullough's help. Next to the people who own this, she's probably the one who's the most familiar with the mansion. But the cons of bringing her outweigh the pros. She's better off somewhere a quick exit's in sight. With no tag-along, I only have to worry about myself. Watch my back. Selfish, I know.
But necessary.
In the same manner this whole plan is, no matter how idiotic going into this is. Besides, I don't really need a guide when the house's layout is fairly simple. Almost mirrored with only a few modifications in the rooms. Although I've only been here once, I think I already have a good grasp of this place's ins and outs. And as long as you can tell which is east and west, it shouldn't be hard to find my way around. After the dining room, the main foyer should be the next thing that greets me, where the woman's cries are leading me. Honestly, after what happened outside, I'm not even sure if I should be trusting what I'm hearing. But with the whole house somehow seemingly devoid of any of its inhabitants, I'm inclined to look into this. More than surviving this curse, a huge part of this is my training speaking.
I just hope this isn't a crime scene I'm walking into.
But nothing's ever that simple, is it? Not when you're dealing with the supernatural. Nope. Because as soon as my feet crosses to the next room, something shifts. In a flash.
Yes.
Nearly
Nice.
without fanfare. It happens in the blink of an eye. I almost miss it. One moment, there's red. In the next, I'm standing alone in the foyer.
Oh, damn.
For a brief instant, I pause, glancing wildly around the place, blinking twice as if my movements will spur the vision back. Yet, nothing. No blood dripping on the walls, none trailing down the stairs or pooled on the floor. No eyes watching my every movement. Only the same cries gradually growing in intensity the longer I dally, along with a voice. What? Desperate.
Where are you, Mother?
Pleading.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
Coming from the same direction I've heard the cries from. Upstairs. The place is not entirely empty then. Better question now is who? Definitely not Scumbag or the butler. I've yet to see hide nor hair of them, and not knowing their whereabouts puts me on edge. I have to be careful not to make any noise or be seen. Maybe the wife? The one can't really tell if it's her, the way the walls echo her voice. Nevertheless, it pushes me to move. Taking almost 2 steps at a time, despite the sickening feeling that something's lurking behind every great shadow, every small corner I pass. As if the house has several eyes watching my every movement. As if something alive dwells behind the walls itself. I try to shake it off.
Upon reaching the kitchen, the crying Ashton heard from outside began anew. On alert, he continued deeper into the mansion, even if he was uncertain if he would get out of the place alive.
But The uneasy sensation has already made home at the pit of my stomach. Dread. And it only grows deeper the closer I get to her. The relative emptiness of the place doesn't help either. Neither does the harsh wind battering the windows, nor the sheets of rain pelting down the roof. For a fleeting second, I find myself wishing for Scumbag to simply show up. I don't get too far down that train of thought. Abruptly, the cries stop. Placing it with,
Mother, please. She's here. She's here, Mother. She's going to take me. She won't leave, Mother. Mother, I don't want to go with her. Tell her to go away. Mother! Mother, she's here! Help!
that can't be good. Adrenaline overcomes me in a rush. In no 2 heartbeats, my feet's already moving, before any sense can catch up or doubt creeps up into me. My hands ready at the holster as I hastily set off for the far side of the hall. One alarmed footstep after another while struggling to keep that sense of panic at bay. The door lies ajar at the end and coming from the floor above.
She's going to hurt me! Help me!
I do not hesitate. Moving in, despite the lack of light, the steep stairs, or the thick layer of dust kicking up with my every step. I pause only a moment upon reaching the top. Then, without wasting a second, I push the door open. She sits in the middle of the room, shoulders hunched and shaking.
Someone's gonna die.
Oh, I'm so hyped, dude.
Also,
This is
Ashton,
dramatic.
you're an idiot. You still have the fucking strap on the gun in your holster. You're not
Oh
going to
my
be able to take your gun out.
Well, if it's a quick release, he will.
It doesn't look like a quick release.
It's just the snap. Like, if you... So the way that they work is if you pull the gun up a certain way, the snap just pops.
Okay. Her hands cover her face as she weeps, oblivious to my presence. It's as if she has heard neither my footsteps nor the soft creaking of the door, continuing, undisturbed, like I'm standing in a time far removed from her. She doesn't even flinch when I call out to her.
Hey, are you alright?
Mother, I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Belatedly, I notice the blood on her hands. If it's the same one drenching the whole attic, I'd rather not know. How the whole room has ended up like this is the least of my problems at the moment. Even the single human body doesn't have this much blood. So, bodies? The thought sends an unpleasant twinge in my stomach. Does Wright even know about this? Bad news, alright. But this? This is beneath. He'll definitely balk at first sight of it. Anyone will. Yet the woman lingers here, unmoved by the sight, letting her sobs fill the room. Repeating the words over and over again like a prayer of salvation. To whom? The mess of parchment she has left on the floor? What the hell is happening?
Hey, lady, are you?
The rest of the question never makes it out. I don't even see it coming. Should have been more aware and on guard, really. But there's little I can do when a well-placed blow to the back of my knees makes me stumble. The momentum alone sends me reeling forward. Barely even registers in my head that the woman's gone and the room is as normal as it can be. Not above the pain suddenly shooting up my side when I hit the floor. I didn't even get the chance to get my bearings back when a hard enough blow to the stomach causes me to buckle down and land heavily on my knees. Gasping, I fumble wildly for my gun. Although, before I'm able to turn, level it and shoot, a hand grabs my wrist and twists it. Hard. A gasp. A grunt. A cry of pain slips past my lips. The gun falls to the floor with a thunk. As soon as it lands, a foot kicks it out of my reach and slides uselessly under the bed.
No, Shirley!
I thought Shirley was the car.
Yeah, Shirley's a car. I can't remember what the.
I think the gun is
Ophelia.
Ophelia, yeah.
No, Ophelia!
Agony suddenly explodes in my chin, jerking loose a sharp cry of pain, and stars fill the edges of my vision. Brief moment of regret hits me for leaving my taser with McCullough, and a piece of cloth closes around my neck. Uh-oh.
Whoops.
Without a warning, my attacker pulls tight. I'm left gasping, choking, and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me as I still try to fight him off and loosen the pressure on my neck. Except any sort of movement only causes him to pull it taut.
My, so many rats scurrying about in this mansion lately.
Hi, Johannes.
What?
Writes Butler. Shit.
Tell me, what did you do with the madam?
I have no idea what he's talking about. Something happened to Hannah, right?
Let go, you asshole.
Now, Doomkopf, you're in no position to be rude. Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other people's homes. Now answer my question. What did you do with the madam?
The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I manage to write it out and spit a mutinous.
You. Keep that dirty mouth babbling and you're getting a knife in the kidney. I assure you, it will be more painful than this.
He really doesn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear at this point. My lungs feel like they're burning with the lack of air. Dark spots begin to fill the edges of my vision. Ever so slowly, the world around me dims. My consciousness rapidly slips away from me. And without meaning to,
Get away from him!
What?
hearing that voice, it's as if I've been doused with a bucket full of ice-cold water. Familiar. Too familiar. Oh. And more importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. Immediately, my eyes snap open. Why does she have? And right there, right on the attic's doorway, stands Isabella. Of all people. A rolling pin in one hand, and a standard issue police taser in the other. My taser. She must have borrowed it from McCullough. Where else could she have gotten one? I doubt she has never even used one, even. Hell, the way she holds it right now, this guy can easily disarm her in one hit. But there's something in her. In her eyes. Although there's a look of fear in them, and her hand shakes, keeps the weapon trained and pointed at Scumbag's lackey. Untrained or not, she does not plan to leave here without putting up a fight, it seems. Admirable, really, but it's just not something we need right now. I need her to be away from here. I need her safe. But the chances of that happening grow slim with every laughter that slips from him.
Oh, this is just getting better and better. The Bratwurst won't be pleased with the number of bodies we have to dispose of today, you know. Tell me, how many of you are there? So I can prepare the proper number of bags.
Damn it. What the fuck is going on? Why is she here in the first place? Did she follow after me? Who else came with her? Zach? Rebecca? Are they all here? Panic surges within me. She knows how bad the situation is, but does she really have to run in here and expose herself like that? Does she even know how to use a taser? For fuck's sake, more than worrying for my life, it's hers I'm concerned about. Getting strangled, dying by choking isn't part of the plan, but her following me here isn't either. This is why I prefer to do things alone. This is why I'd rather be the one who takes the consequences. I don't even want to think of what this bastard might do to her after he's done with me. Though my voice comes off nearly a croak, I try and tell her as much. She has to leave. Stay far away from here and these people.
Don't! Damn it, Isabella! Get out of here!
Another bout of pain erupts in my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts from my mouth. I can taste blood in my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel still coiled around my neck.
Ash?
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Get out! 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 Val!
Don't be stupid! I'm not leaving you here!
He laughs. Too cruel. Too unforgiving. The way each note beats against my ears, in spite of the warmth in them, sends chill down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. He won't hesitate.
I'd follow his advice if I were you, little girl. What could you possibly do with a toy? Just hand it over and be on your way. It'll probably be too difficult for a little girl like you to use.
There's a moment of silence. Fuck, I can barely keep my eyes open. But in the next second, though I still don't exactly understand what's happening, Isabella shouts. Not a cry of pain. Not a yell of panic. But one that's resolute. Firm. Perhaps in a tone that's leagues fiercer than any I've heard from her before.
Try me. Ashton, duck!
I do. More out of instinct and desire to survive, closing my eyes before my mind can fully process what's going on. It all happens in a blur. Telltale sign of a taser being discharged resounds through the room. The air crackles. Something whizzes by, almost too close to my ear, followed by the thud of something blunt connecting solidly with another object. The next thing I know, the towel strangling me has started to loosen. I collapse on the floor, dazed and gasping for air. from my peripheral, through the haze of blood rushing and sound slowly filtering back, the butler buckles, spasms once. Then, without much fuss, falls face first beside me, knocked unconscious by 50,000 volts of electricity and a fucking rolling pin.
God bless. This is great.
He'll be out for a while. I have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. Somewhere in front of me, my oxygen-deprived brain vaguely registers Isabella's form. She slumps on the floor, also breathing heavy. Right next to her trembling hands, both the taser and the rolling pin lie useless and forgotten, while the mood in the room eases.
And with that, we will end this episode right here. Thank you guys for joining us, and see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye!